This year's classic generation has met its seniors, and the representative, as we've told you before and showed you in that flip of the derby, is Marju. There he is, Willie Carson, in the colours he wore on El Marmoul, last year's winner. But this is almost certainly a better horse than El Marmoul, a more versatile one anyway, because after running that great race against Generous over 1.5 miles in the derby, Marju came back to Royal Ascot for the 1 mile of the St James's Palace Stakes and won that as well. That was a very bold decision by John Dunlop and a tremendous performance by Marju. The derby was 1.5 miles, the St James's Palace was 1 mile. Derek Thompson asked Willie Carson, could the 1.25 miles of the Eclipse be Marju's ideal distance?
Well, it's very possible that it is this trip. I thought he got the 1.5 miles in the derby. And he showed a lot of speed at Ascot over 1 mile, so you must think that the 1.25 miles may be his optimum distance.
You've won this race for the past 2 years, you're onto the hat-trick. How confident are you, knowing it looks a very hot contest?
Well, winning a race the last 2 years is no help today, but sitting on a horse like Marju is a big help, because he's got an outstanding chance.
Spot on.
Well, for those of you who've backed Marju, I can tell you he looked in particularly good form with himself. He was just nicely on his toes, jigging around the paddock beforehand. Not very big, but he looked particularly well. And certainly that St James's Palace horse ran more or less the same race on a line through Hokusai as he ran in the Craven earlier on in the season. I agree with it. I think the extra 2 furlongs round here will just suit him.
So that's the question. Can he beat his seniors? The five-year-old Terimon, who was, don't forget, second at 500 to 1 in the Derby 2 years ago. And there he is, number 3, Terimon, in the famous colours of Lady Beaverbrook. And, well, she doesn't like the Derby, but Terimon ran really well for her, even if Mystico disappointed a bit this year. And Terimon, as I said, has been running well ever since. He's run against Stagecraft, he's run against In the Groove, and he's the form line in this race. And well, you can work it out almost any way you like. And of course, he's perfectly entitled to run well himself. Was second to El Marmoul last year, practically never runs a bad race, and has blinkers on for the first time. Well, Derek Thompson asked his rider Michael Roberts, why have they fitted the blinkers?
Well, we just felt that at Ascot he was just hanging fire a little bit, you know. I feel I should have been a good second at Ascot to Stagecraft, and when we got next to Zoman, he just hung fire a bit, so we tried him on in a gallop at home, and he seemed to go much better with him, so we left it on him, and I think it'll help him but to concentrate better on his racing.
And can he make up the 3 lengths?
Well, yes, he's never really run that well at Ascot, you know, and last time it was a very slowly run race, and he's a bit also off a quick pace. So I think he can, you know, especially with the long run in here, and they've got a pacemaker in a race. You know, obviously it's a very difficult race today because, I mean, you've got Sanglamore in the Groove and the 3-year-old Marju. So, I mean, it's you know, it's a hot little race.
Well, I think the main point that Michael Roberts brought out there about Terimon is that he doesn't normally run well at Ascot, and I didn't think that he ran at all badly in that race. If the blinkers improve him just slightly, he's got an outstanding chance. He's covered a fair bit since this morning's betting. There's Environment Friend. He blotted his copybook in the Derby. We just caught him at the corner of the picture when we were watching Marju. But he was a good winner of the Dante before that, and before racing James Fanshawe, who trains this colt, was asked were there any real excuses why he ran badly in the Derby, and this is what he said.
Nothing really, Derek. You know, the week before the race he worked slightly disappointed on the line kilns, and we've been working on hard ground for a long time in Newmarket, and the ground was pretty firm at Epsom, and I think, you know, that he may have been feeling that. Also, I was having a pretty quiet spell with my horse at that stage, and Royal Ascot, we had a quiet time there, and you know, hopefully they're coming around now.
So you're back to 1.25 miles?
Back, well, he won over 1.25 miles and an extended 1.25 miles at York, and you know, we've returned the trip that he's been most effective over.
Any fancy chances of overturning the big four?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but the horse is in good form, and he's been working nice at home, and you know, he's a Group 2 winner, and you know, hoping he'll run really well today.
43 favourites and 93 runnings at one. Stagecraft top of the 9-4 favourite, 3 in the group. Victor Chandler opposing it at 130. VC opposing in the group. 3-1 very tight Marjou. They've taken the 4 Sanglemore into 7-2. 14 Terimon. They've taken the double carpet, the Environment Friend, into 28-1. And it's any price 401 the rag. But top of the head 9-4 against Stagecraft. Carpet bar, but Victor Chandler opposing in the group.
They oppose in the groove at Epsom, so I'm not too unhappy about them opposing her now. Let's hope she'll prove them as wrong now as she did then. So now Sanglemore, the last one going in, so for a marvellous Eclipse. Over to you, Graham.
Thank you. Tactically, obviously, Green's firmly put in as a pacemaker should really give them a good show. Hopefully they'll keep close to him, and Wallace Swinburne, not an easy job to do, because they might just ignore him, and is going on well. 2-1 the field. Sanglemore comes through into second. So as Sanglemore made the running in France, I'm not worried about that. Marjou stretching well third. And then Stagecraft in the groove and Terimon on the back marker. Just a bit outpace his Environment Friend. And it's Green's Fernley doing a good job. Clear by 3-4. Sanglemore striding out well in second, with Stagecraft showing third. Marjou the rail in blue 4. A length behind these Terimon on the outside of in the groove. And it's Green's Fernley the leader. Green's Fernley the leader. There he is, pacemaker clear by about 5 now. The second, there goes Sanglemore through into second, with in third coming Stagecraft now, Marjou, and then Terimon, followed by in the groove Environment Friend, 7-7. They go down towards the halfway stage in the Coral Eclipse, and Green's Fernley setting the pace, still clear by 4. Sanglemore in second, and then up on the outside showing third is Stagecraft, Marjou the rail, and then Terimon on the outside of in the groove. So the major players yet to make their move as they start the turn in. The pacemaker swinging along is still 4 clear, but here the pack are closing now, and it's Green's Fernley in the lead from Sanglemore showing second, and then Stagecraft, Marjou in blue the rail, in the groove off the pace. Environment Friend, the grey and the yellow colours, gets closer too. And they come down to the 3, and it's Green's Fernley coming off the fence, and Sanglemore gets the run through, and Stagecraft in the white sleeve jacket going well. Marjou in the striped cap, Terimon, Environment Friend on the outside, and in the groove bursts through as they come down past the 2, and Stagecraft has it, Sanglemore the rail, Environment Friend with the black striped sleeves, in the groove is off the pace, but a real battler. A furlong and a half to go in the Coral Eclipse, and it's Stagecraft with the power to devour. Here comes Environment Friend. Sanglemore is beaten in the groove, can find no more. The improving Stagecraft strides up, but Environment Friend is chasing, and it's Stagecraft now having to work, and Environment Friend closing with every stride, and Environment Friend comes to take Stagecraft, and Environment Friend beats Stagecraft in a photo. They're clear of Sanglemore third in the groove 4, Terimon 5, Marjou disappointing, 6 effectively of the 6 who ran. For the 7th was Green's Fernley. The outcome of this Coral Eclipse, the judge calls a photo. The judge calls a photo at the end of this Group 1 thriller, but for me it's gone to number 6, Environment Friend, in the colours of Mr. Bill Gredley, bred at the Stetchworth Park Stud, trained at Newmarket by James Fanshawe and ridden by George Duffield, proving that Derby form oh so wrong. It's a close one, not as close as the previous one. Our evidence shows Environment Friend. George Duffield in the yellow jacket, getting up to pip. Horse number 2, Stagecraft, in the colours of Sheikh Mohammed, trained at Newmarket by Michael Stad. Of course, James Fanshawe used to be assistant to Michael, and he's got one over on the master here in this Group 1 Coral Eclipse. Environment Friend taking Stagecraft in the dying stride. Sanglemore putting in a great run to finish third, but Environment Friend, the 28-1 winner, bred at the Stetchworth Park Stud. They have a big party at Newmarket last week. This has just, next week I should say, this has just put the icing on the cake. Environment Friend, a Group 1 winner.
Well, this is wonderful for Bill Gredley, who owns Environment Friend, also bred him. And it's vindicated James Fanshawe's decision to take part here this afternoon. But as we pick up the film, Sanglemore taken over from pacemaker Green's Fernley, just going quite nicely, had a good run up the rails, but Steve Cawthon on Stagecraft has come there absolutely cruising. and he had no choice to go there. I just wonder whether, given the race again, whether he'd probably hold him up for a little bit longer. But at this stage, if you look right behind, both In the Groove, Marju and Terimon, they're all struggling. They're not going to take part in the finish. But on this side, Environment Friend is really under strong pressure, whereas Stagecraft just switched his tail slightly. And I just wonder, John, whether he just ducked the issue slightly in the closing stages.
Yes, I don't think you could really hold that against him. Environment Friend has run on superbly well from that point. The Marju's running might have disgraced the 3-year-olds, but Environment Friend, who did disgrace himself at Epsom, now rises above himself. Stagecraft running on really well. As you say, his ears are back. He doesn't look all that happy, but you can't blame him for not feeling happy, because here comes Environment Friend, close home, thrusts his head into the lead, and what a tremendous triumph for James Fanshawe, who might easily have despaired after Epsom. He did nothing of the kind, gave this grey horse another chance, which he's taken with both hands.
And it's rather ironic as well, because Steve Caulfield rode this horse for Bill Gredley as a 2-year-old, told him to put the horse away, give him plenty of time, and that's exactly what they did, and it's cost him an Eclipse this afternoon. This, of course, the reverse angle, and you can see just how far these two have pulled away there from the others, and considering it looked an incredibly tight contest beforehand, they've gone 6 or 7 lengths clear of the third horse, and it wasn't until the last 50 yards that the grey on the far side has just nosed in front, and it's not by much. We saw the horse on this side earlier, Case Law. It's close, but we think that the grey's just got it.
Flickering hopes only for favourite backers of Stagecraft. The pundits here have not seen the Channel 4 pictures, and they're still entertaining hope that somehow Stagecraft has resisted the Environment Friend. But as that picture shows, the grey has just got up. 28 to 1 is the return. Environment Friend. It did touch double carpet, 33 to 1 here on the course. Stagecraft, and they lumped on it late, sent off the bottle, the 2 to 1 favourite, with Sanglemore third, a 7 to 2 chance. And here comes the result now.
First, number 6.
Environment Friend wins the races.
Second, number 2. And third, number 1. Fourth was number 5. First, number 6, Environment Friend. Second, number 2, Stagecraft. And third, number 1, Sanglemore. The fourth horse, number 5, in the groove. The difference is ahead and 7 lengths. That's ahead and 7 lengths. The official time of the
and there is Bill Gredley welcoming his Eclipse Stakes winner. Yet another Group 1 winner to come out of this year's Epsom Derby. Generous, of course, went on and won the Irish Derby. And there's George Duffield, who rode, for whom James Fanshawe, the trainer, rode point-to-point winners. That must be a unique double, I think. There is James on the right in the spectacles. He doesn't look like a jockey, but he was a jolly good point-to-point jockey before he took up training. And some of his winners were owned by George Duffield's wife. Bruff's going to talk to James now.
James, for God's sake, come back.